The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
Aloha, I'm Barbara and welcome to Polymer Play. Today we're going to be having a fun project working on building a Honu. Honu is the Hawaiian word for turtle. And we're going to make two different canes and combine them to make earrings and a pendant. Ready? So here we go. We're going to start today with the flower. And when we build the flower, we need to roll our center. Oops. We're going to be using 3 colors that I made using my dough sheeter. You know I love combining different colors to create all the unique patterns that you see. So I'm going to roll up the center one, taking my time to go slow. Even though I worked the clay this morning, it's a little bit cracky. I'm going to trim the edge to make a nice smooth transition. Give it a little roll. It's funny, I've been doing canes for 37 years and I still get excited doing even the most basic flowers. Okay, so here's our center. Next, we're going to take this color that was a combination of green and blue and white mixed together. You know what? Actually, I think this is a little bit big. I'll pull this down. I like to keep clean edges. Okay, so I've got this tapered edge, and I'm going to go around, and I'm going to taper it on the other side. And since I want this section a little bit thicker, I'm going to do it twice. And our goal here is to make one flower that we're going to stack into multiples and put back together to form the turtle shell. Okay, now we'll do our next color. I love this green, it's so pretty. Okay. Cutting again. Placing it around. I picked these colors because they seemed oceany to me. Clean. And we'll take a thin sheet of blue because since our turtle is going to be set in blue, blue is always the last color that we're going to put on. So I want to cut the right width. Taper. Now this time when I go around, I'm coming down a little bit further than the green, but not all the way to the blue. And I'm gonna try and wrap it without any air bubbles in there. But if you have them, it's not the end of the world, because we'll squeeze them out. Okay, I've got a little excess on this side, so I'm gonna cut that off. Yay! Okay, we have our flower petal. Always check both sides to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. And remember, we're not going to be rolling, but we're going to squeeze it and we're going to pull it to take it down. Sometimes you have to roll it to even it up a little bit. It's funny, sometimes people say, Barbara, what kind of flower is that? I said, it's a Barbara flower. Oh, that's funny. Okay. So we're compacting it, we're getting all the air pockets out of it. We're really squeezing it from the inside out. Even it up a little. And keep pulling. This is the slowest part, but it's the most important part. See, what happens is if you just put it on the table and you roll it, this line doesn't stay straight, and then you can't connect them back together, which is really important. I'm squeezing from the inside out. This is how I get my arm exercises in. Right. Keeping my edges clean. Oh, see? You can't see the two lines of the middle color. So I want to cut. There it is. Perfect. Don't panic, because sometimes your design is just a little further in than you think it is. And you hate to waste it. But the nice thing is when you're using colors that are uniform like this, you can blend them back into a new color. So you really have zero waste, which is the way to go when you're learning how to make rolls. If you use colors that blend into something good, even if you mess it up, you can start over. Okay, so now we've got it long enough. Again, we're cutting in to the center. And knowing that this is the center of our petal, we're going to go through and pinch it down. Let's see. All the way across. And then what we'll do is we'll cut it into 5 petals and put it back together. I know you know the process because I've been doing this on other episodes. I'm so stoked I get to do this with you. Okay. There we go. Now some people like to measure it with a ruler. I measure it with my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So I'm going to cut into 5 pieces. Oops, almost. That's okay, I can use that for something else. And I'm going to stand them up. And you can see how the flower is coming together here. Now you notice I have a little bit of a hole right here in the center. So I can take some of the blue. I mean, you can use any color you like. But by putting blue in the center, the blue just looks like it flows out. Which is what I'd like to have it look like for this. So I'll make a little stringer. You remember, this is an ancient glass technique, so a lot of the terminology that I use when I'm building these comes from glass. So stringer, and I'm building a cane. That's glass terminology. Now, whenever you put it together, you have to flip it over and check, because sometimes, see how this one's a little off and this one's not quite in. So we've got to put that one in. Take this one. Oops, it's already sticking a little bit. This wasn't pinched right down the center. So fix that one up a little bit. It's actually great when I make mistakes. Good teaching moments. Stick it back in. Okay, we've got our flower. Then I take a roll. I just roll it into a tube. This is the easiest way to get the triangles to cut down the center. I cut once, I cut twice. Well, actually, I nailed it. If you cut it funky, you can just put it back together and try it again. So when you're filling in the cane, you want to try and do it uniformly so that when you take it down, it will come the same. It will pull down the same way. Once you have these all the way in, you're going to go back and put little pieces. See where the center is? Oh, it's the flower petals there, and these are extended past it. I'm going to lay this in here. Slice it this way. And it just makes, that way you can see all the different stuff together. Yay! All right, we're going to let this one sit for a minute and firm up, and we'll make our dot pattern that we'll use for our legs and our head and our arms. Okay, so for that, we're going to start with a center sheet of gray. Roll it into the tube. And this time, we're going to run stringers down the side. I love turtles. I remember the first time I went to the black sand beach down south, and it was at Punaluu, and I'd never seen so many turtles sitting in the sand. I was in heaven. It was magical. Okay. We've got our silver tube. We're going to do white dots around the side. You can either choose to cut them. Sometimes I just pinch them. It doesn't really matter because the ends are going to end up being cut off later anyway. Okay, we've got that. Oh, unless you do it wrong like that. Oh. Remember my motto, you own your clay doesn't own you. So we think, okay, so that goes around. Okay, and then I'm going to do a sheet of, oh, this color turned out pretty. I just mixed the purple with the white to soften it, make a nice soft purple lavender. Now when you're putting a sheet around, you always want to just have the sheet come up and meet. You don't want to cross it over. So when I do it right on one of the bumps. And I go around, meet them up. Yeah. So what's cool about these turtles that we're going to be making today is not only can you use it for jewelry, but you could also like magnets or, you know, attach them to a frame. There's so many different things you can do. This is one of the most creative mediums I've ever encountered because the possibilities are endless. Okay, I've got my sheet there connected, and now I'm going to go in between, cut off this boldy end, come in, do this. We'll wrap a sheet of blue around the outside, and then we'll be ready to take down our flower. So it's amazing, with just two simple tubes, you're able to make a more complex pattern. We've got this. I'm gonna squeeze it in a little bit. Even that would be a cool flower. Okay, even it, get it tight. Oop. Uh-oh. Problem. For sake of what I'm doing, I'm going to cut this because I'm going to use that for something later, and I'm going to wrap this around. And here's what happens when you don't have enough. You slice that. You take another piece because it's already the same thickness and add it. Still not quite there. Slice it. Slice it. And then another piece. See, there's no problem we can't handle. Okay, it's even. And now that will get pulled down. All right. Since you don't need to see the pulling process twice, I'm going to go back to pulling the flower. And I already pulled down some of that wool. Okay, so we're compacting it. And this, you just want to take your time and work it down until we get it to something that's going to look like this. Alright, so once we have it down here, the easiest way to make our shell is I cut it into 8 pieces, so I have one left over. And so I'm going to cut down the center. Actually, this is a bit long. I'm not going to go quite that big. It goes a little smaller. Whoop. Okay. Cut my ends. I'm going to cut down the center. And then cut down the center. Cut down the center. Yay! Now we've got 8, but we only need 7. So I'm going to take one out. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to put one in the middle. And we're going to put 6 around the outside. And there we have our shell. Okay. Then with our dot that we pulled down, we're going to make the pieces that go around him. So if I want to do a pendant, I chose to do my pendant a little bit bigger. You can make it as big or as small as you want. It's up to you, because it's your project. So I'm going to cut the shell. So here I have my shell. I'm going to take some of the dot and I'm going to kind of pinch it to make his arms. I love this silver color in the center. It's got such a cool kind of a midnight feel. I've got two, and you can art, you know, whatever you do on one side, you want to be able to do on the other side. So there's one, and here's two. I'm going to push those in. I'm actually going to take the same size and squeeze it up a bit, and this is going to be his head or her head. Okay, and then I'm going to take some of this and pull it down a little bit for its legs. So it's fun when you start looking at all the different rolls that can be made. You start noticing that there's a lot of little sub-tubes within them. And the more sub-tubes you make, the longer it takes, but the cooler the pattern. Okay, so here's one leg and the other leg. Okay, we've got that. And then we'll take a really tiny piece for his tail. Now when I did the earrings, I do the same thing, I just do it smaller. So here's his tail. Now when I did this, when I was experimenting with this, I thought, you know, he's cool, but it's just a little flat. So I took some of the scrap and I rolled it into a ball. And kind of an egg-shaped ball, and then I cut it so that I had an arc that I could put in here. And so now I can form the body a little more turtle-ish. And that's what gives it, you know, the cool shell feel. And I use the eye pins. Now, if you notice that this part is too thin when you're going to insert your eye pin, you can actually take another piece of it. Oops, that one's not good. Or even a little one. And put it on the back right up at the top. And then with that, you can put the eye pin right in between. Now when you fire this, all these things are going to be stuck together, which is what you want. Okay? So that is how we make the turtle. And we do the same things for the smaller ones. I wanted to show you that with this concept, if you wanted to make it into a tube, there's another thing you could do. And it would be, you're taking this shell the way you had it, the way that you formed your arms, you're going to do the same thing and run them down the sides. And you've got the head, you know, the tail, and little legs. And then you go back with your blue and fill in all the space around it, which would give you something kind of like this. And so this is how you'd make it into a complex cane, which is just another way to do it. I also experimented and did some different colors of these little guys just so you could see you're not limited by one color. You can do, you know, all different things. Anyhow, a little side note there. Okay, back to our guy. So now this one is going to go in the oven and then it will be cooked for 13 minutes at 315. You'll cool it and then we'll be able to pull the pin out, glue it, and stick it back in. And that's how we get this guy over here. Okay, let's make one a little smaller. Actually, I'm going to leave some big this would make a really cool magnet as well. So again, you're going to compact it down to the size that you want your shell. Actually, that's pretty, just like an earring like that. Isn't that cute? I still get excited. Okay, the smaller one that we used for this one will now be the bigger one that we used for this one. So, oh, wait, actually I'm making two. So, okay. So we need 4 arms. For the sake of it, I can just make one so you can see. There. And there. Oh, he's so cute. And then those little legs. Remember, we have to pinch it. 1, 3, 2. Then remember, however you do one is how you want to do the other, so they match. Oh, I'm notorious for going, oh no, wait, you have to do them at the same time. Okay, and his head is here. All right, so there we've got our little guy. He still needs a little piece in the back of him, make him rounded. And there we go. Okay. Now, once they come out of the oven, this little guy is going to have a pin in his head. Oh, he needs a back one. 2 there. This goes in here. Once they've cooled, oh, he's cute. Once they've cooled, take these off. I've got these 2 little guys. Aren't they cute? That would even be cute as a pendant as well. You could go either way with that. But we're going to use our needle nose pliers to put our ear wires on. And remember, when you're opening an ear wire, you don't want to open it this way. You want to swing it. And by swinging it, you're able to swing it back closed. Whereas if you pull it this way, it's, I think they call it sprung. It's hard to get it back in. There we go. Maybe I should turn them on. See what they look like. Yay! I've never made these before. This is totally new style for me. It's so fun doing this show because I get to try and do different things. I love it. Okay, I want to show you that I also took some of this roll down that I made. And here it is smaller. And smaller yet. I thought that turned out really fun. And again, I made the earrings. Let's see, I took them and put the little pin in the top. So the nice thing about polymer clay is you don't have to do it all the same way. This is showing you how you can do different patterns with this, or different outcomes with the same pattern. And so I always take half of it and save it because I come up with another idea later. In this one, I took the pattern that I made, the flower that I made, and the dot that I made, and then connected the 3, which is super cute too. And I wanted to show you one other thing that you can do with these. When you're making, if you want to make a bead with these patterns, we'll start by mixing our color up to make a background to cover. I love stuff going on right in front of me. It's par for the course here. When you're making beads, you want to cut the same diameter here so that they're the same size. And then you're going to roll it into a ball. and take your little cane. When you're doing multiple slices, you don't want to keep going straight down. The ideal thing is to roll with it. And by rolling with it, you can kind of flick them aside. And that way they don't get stuck together and they stay more rounded. So if you take that, actually this is another way that you could do the turtle too. You could do this. You're going to take your ball and cover, go one by one so they're touching. It's kind of like a soccer ball. This is the way Venetian glass beads are made. This is how I got my whole concept of how to do this. They build these canes in glass and then they wet slice them and they melt them all together. And I was playing with this clay and I was like, haha, I know what I can do. And you guys can do it too. It's fun. Okay, once I have this all the way covered, see how they go all the way around? And you can see each individual one. And here's the magic. I keep rolling and rolling until it becomes smooth. I wonder if you can hear all those roosters up here in Honu. Okay, see how smooth it is now? That's cool. And then you could shape it. This is another way you could shape it, like a turtle shell. This is what I did one like this. Look at that. That's awesome. So now that could be a pendant. It could be, you could add the legs and the arms. Do it that way too. See? There we go. It's Turtle Mania. Oh, that's cute. So if you're anything like me, every time I do a project, I'm like, oh, I want to do another one. I have more ideas. I got to get to them. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is every time you do it, you're going to experience something different and be excited to try it again. Let's see here. Look at that. See, that's again another, I love that. That looks really cool. I still get excited. Yay. Yeah, that's nice. It's so much fun getting to work with you guys and make all these cool things. I really look forward to it. Guess what we're going to do next month? I don't know yet. I have to think about something cool. Meanwhile, keep playing with the clay. Look at all the fun things you can make. And we used 4, what did we use? Oh, I guess we used 5 colors of clay. We did silver, white, purple, and 2 shades of blue. Until I see you again, aloha, have an awesome day, and play with clay. It's good for your soul. Bye.
The preceding program was a production of Naleo TV.